everyone to the Vintage Tractor and Machinery channel, where this episode we travelled to Muckleford, which is a couple of kilometres from Castlemaine in Victoria's Golden Triangle. This episode features the Inaugural Muckleford Vintage Tractor Pool. 7 classes of tractors will be competing this weekend with some very good prizes up for grabs. A very good crowd in attendance, with a lot of the fans deciding to make the journey by steam train, disembarking at the Historic Muckleford Railway Station. On screen is Rod Skidmore in the little case in the under 20 horsepower class. This is the second pull of Rod, and they've really loaded up the sled now, and it's making it very difficult for that little case. As you see, it's starting to jump around now, really starting to strain under the struggle of the added weight of the sled. And Rod's still hanging in there in that little case, but it's only a matter of time before it's going to run out of horsepower. And there goes the red flag, and that's it for Rod Skidmore. Neil Girvin in the David Brown is next tractor away. This is Neil's second pull after a pretty good full pull first up, but now they've really loaded the sled up to really test these under 20 horsepower tractors out. Neil doing a reasonably good job, but now starting to struggle just a little, just trying to muscle a bit more horsepower out of that little David Brown, and that's it for Neil Girvin. The H model Lance Bulldog is next tractor away. That's driven by Rod Girvin. This is also Rod's second pull in the under 20 horsepower class. Rod having a pretty good full first time up, but now starting to struggle just a little bit, trying to get a little bit more horsepower out of that H model Lance Bulldog, but that's just about nearly going to be it for Rod, and that's it there for Rod Girvin in the H model Bulldog. Alan Lendon Jr. in the International always has a pretty good pull at these particular vintage tractor pull events. This is Junior's second pull, had a pretty good first pull. We'll see what the little International of Alan Lendon Jr. can do, and at the moment looking pretty strong, as he's just about gone past everybody so far in the under 20 horsepower class, and putting in a very strong performance is Alan Lendon Jr. in the International. But I think that might be it for Alan, and that's it. Very nice tractor this one. This is Terry Nicholson Sr. in the Fordson Major, the E27N, the petrol Kero model, and you can see Terry's left foot on that gear stick, but that's it for Terry Nicholson Sr. Another E27N petrol Kero. This is Terry Nicholson Jr. in the another E27N, missing a little bit, probably a little bit of electrical problem there for Terry, which could cause him problems, and I don't think he's going to get as far as what his father did previous, but Terry is still battling on in that little petrol Kero unit, but I think that might be about it for Terry, still missing in, carrying on, and that's it for Terry Nicholson Jr. Laurie Adams in the Alice Chalmers is finding it very difficult to get that sled away, but just starting to pick up a little bit now, so I think Laurie can relax a little bit. So the Alice still struggling, but he's away making a little bit of progress now is Laurie Adams in that Alice Chalmers. Still making reasonable progress, starting to struggle now as the Alice Chalmers of Laurie Adams, and it won't be too long before that red flag will come out, and that's it for Laurie. Andrew Chapman in the Ford 3000, really struggling under the added weight of the sled, and that's as far it'll go for the Ford 3000. Ben McMahon also struggling in his little International, real lot of wheel spin there, and I think that might be it for Ben. These under 25 horsepower tractors really struggled under the added weight. On the screen now is Bill Taylor from Kyneton in the E27N crawler, the petrol Kero configuration. Bill is the only tractor in his class running here today at Muckleford. We'll see what Bill Taylor can do in his very strong little E27 in the petrol Kero configuration of the crawler. We can see Bill really working those levers. A bit of a trade of Bill's in the tractor pull. The vintage tractor pulls really works the levers of that little E27 in the crawler, and always has a reasonably good pull, and he's pulling a fair bit of weight in the sled at the moment, and you can see Bill feverishly working away on those levers on that E27 crawler, and at the moment really showing no signs of struggle with the added weight that the sled. Bill will go on to have a full pull. Here we have Steve O'Connor in the Massey Harris 744D. Steve's travelled about nearly half track distance now, and just starting to struggle a little bit as we see Steve start to encounter a little bit of wheel spins, but still the Massey Harris 744D still soldiering on. It's a matter of time spinning now, and that's it for Steve. Terry Nicholson is next up in the P6, the E27N, the Fordson. And Terry's always a very strong puller in these under 30 horsepower class. We just see Terry taking it easy now. Notice that left foot on the gear stick, as this tractor is notorious for jumping out of gear. Terry's running about half track distance, looking fairly strong as Terry, as he just checks across there, see if everything's tracking square. And he's running probably 3/4 track distance now, and the tractor is looking strong. Terry looks around. Yes, Terry, the sled is coming as he's heading across to, looks like it's going to be a good pull. This could be a full pull for Terry. Phil Parford is on screen. Phil driving the AW6 International. Looks a very good tractor. This looks like this tractor's been kept under cover for a long time. Good rubber on it, so it should be a reasonably good pull for Phil Parford in this AW6 International. Running about probably half track distance now, Phil Parford in the International, and looking pretty strong, pretty comfortable, just sitting back there and letting the tractor do all the work. It looks like it's going to go on to be a pretty good full pull from Phil Parford. This is an AWD6 International. It's driven by Peter Douglas. Always a good, strong pulling tractor, this one, and Peter Douglas is a regular competitor in the tractor pull, the vintage tractor pulls here in central Victoria. Doing a reasonably good job in this International is Peter Douglas, and looks like Pete is not setting the world on fire with his speed, but very, very consistent. And it looks like this AWD6 Inter is going to go on and have a pretty good pull, probably a full pull from Peter Douglas in the International. So that's a full pull from Peter Douglas, and you'll be very pleased with that effort. This tractor looks like it's just come off the showroom floor. It's a Chamberlain Type 40K, and it's driven by Robert McClure. Very, very quiet tractor, not a very noisy tractor at all, but a very strong tractor, a beautifully looking tractor. Turned out very, very well by Robert, as he's probably about quarter track distance, half track distance now, and we'll see what the Australian built Chamberlain Type 40K can do. Horizontally opposed engine, and it's probably half track distance now, looking fairly strong as Robert McClure in this Chamberlain Type 40K. And it looks like Rob's going to go on to have a pretty good pull, and I think this is going to be a full pull from Robert McClure in that Chamberlain, the Australian built Chamberlain Type 40K. So a good pull from Robert McClure in the Chamberlain. Jack Douglas, son of Peter Douglas, in the AWD6 International. And it's good to see the father-son combinations pulling here at Muckleford this weekend. Starting to struggle now with Jack Douglas, and that might be just about all for Jack Douglas in the International. Xavier Irwin in the P6 E27N half-track, struggling to get off the line here at Muckleford. One of the shakers and movers in the under 30 horsepower class here at Muckleford, and that's Alan Brown in the P6, the Fordson. Really starting to puff out the smoke now, and a very, very good strong tractor this one. It always has success here in these vintage tractor pulls. It looks like today's going to be no exception, as Alan Brown in that E27N P6 Perkins looking pretty strong, as he's going to go on and have a full pull here at Muckleford. So a good run from Alan Brown. Steady as she goes. That's Alan Lendon Jr. from the International Farm Hall, just taking a very nice and easy run, travelling at a little above snail's pace as Alan Lendon Jr., but having a reasonable pull, and it's not too bad an effort from Alan Lendon. Another magnificent looking tractor from the Robert McClure collection. And this is Robert's John Deere. It's in beautifully turned out condition, good rubber on that particular tractor, good strong tractor. And we'll see what Robert McClure can do in his John Deere. This is the first time, starting to spin now is the John Deere. This is the first time that John Deere has entered a tractor pull, so it'll be interesting to see how Robert can manipulate the John Deere and see what sort of horsepower it's got. It's really churning up the track. It's starting to struggle for a little bit of grip now, as you can see those rear tyres really starting to bite into the surface here at Muckleford, and it is chopping up the surface, but still making way. There's this fantastic looking John Deere of Robert McClure's, and it looks like it's going to go on to be a pretty good pull from Rob McClure in this John Deere, so I think Rob will be pretty happy. This is the first time outing for the starting to struggle now, and that's it for Rob McClure. Another tractor on screen at the moment from the Lendon family collection, once again driven by Alan Lendon Jr., and this is a Land's Bulldog. A nicely turned out tractor too. Very good rubber on the rear of this tractor, so I think we can see a reasonably good pull from this particular Land's Bulldog driven by Alan Lendon Jr. At the moment, very strong. It looks as though this is going to go on to be a very good, strong, full pull from Alan Lendon and Jr. in that very nicely turned out Bulldog. This is one of the feature events of the afternoon, and it's the under 30 horsepower crawler class shootout. This is a shootout between Wayne Orr on screen at the moment in his E27 and the P6 Perkins, and also Bill Taylor of Kite in a similar tractor. We'll see what Wayne Orr can do at the moment in his E27 in the crawler made by the county company, and at the moment travelling pretty steady as Wayne Orr and his Fordson E27 and Perkins. And we're looking for a full pull. They've really loaded that sled up, so there's plenty of weight in that sled, so these tractors are really going to be tested out. And at the moment Wayne Orr just taking it nice and easy. Looks pretty relaxed as Wayne Orr on that E27 Fordson crawler. And at the moment just checks his direction with the levers, but not working too hard on the lever itself, but looking good. It's just starting to buck now, really starting to work under the weight of that sled as this E27 of Wayne Orr, but looks like it could be going on for a full pull, so this is going to put a lot of pressure on Bill Taylor, who's coming up next. And looks like Wayne Orr in his E27 and Fordson P6 Perkins is going to go on and have a full pull. So here comes Billy Taylor, the Fordson guru from Kind, and see what Bill Taylor can do in his E27 and the Perkins P6. And at the moment, Bill's just sitting back there, just nice and relaxed, just fiddling with those levers. A bit of a trade of Bill's once again. You see working on those levers of this P6. The under 30 horsepower class, crawler class, so he'll be out to try and match that full pull of Wayne Orr previous, and at the moment Bill's looking pretty strong, and it looks like he could be going on for a full pull as well, so it's going to be all up to Bill Taylor whether he can make it a full pull in this under 30 horsepower crawler class tractor. It's a great shootout between Wayne Orr and Bill Taylor. Bill Taylor on screen at the moment, and Orr's bucking a little bit under the pressure of the sled, but looks like Bill Taylor is also going on for a full pull, so this could be a dead heat in the under 30 horsepower crawler class. Williams Brothers Excavations doing a great job of tractor preparations this weekend at Muckleford. Laurie Adams and the Fordson his first tractor away in the under 40 horsepower class. He's Fordson Major and see what Laurie can do, but put some good rubber on the rear. That track's starting to spin now, and that could be all for Laurie Adams. Perkins powered 9G Chamberlain is next tractor away, and that's driven by Laurie Adams. Laurie's been a very busy driver this weekend. They're driving quite a couple of few tractors, and you see the tractor starting to spin now, still struggling under the weight of that sled is this Australian built Chamberlain 9G powered by the Perkins, and that could be it for Laurie Adams. Next up is Steve Hancock in the Massey Ferguson 175. This is a beautifully turned out tractor from Steve Hancock in showroom condition. Very, very nice tractor indeed. And he's travelling about half track distance now with Steve Hancock in that Massey. Starting to struggle a little bit now, a little bit of wheel spin, and really starting to struggle under the weight of that sled. And he's getting a bit more wheel spin there, and I think this just might be it for Steve Hancock in that Massey Ferguson. This International AW7 of John Blake is in fantastic condition. Looks like in original condition, the International, and I would say this has been kept undercover as it's a bit of a credit to John Blake to see this track in such good conditions and pulling very, very well here this weekend at Muckleford. John's travelled about to a half track distance now. It's just starting to struggle now, getting a little bit of wheel spin, and still needs some motor chopping it up now, and that's it for John Blake. This is an interesting tractor driven by Graham Wilkie, affectionately known as the Circus Tractor. It's an Australian-built Chamberlain, and in a bygone era it used to travel around with the circuses towing trailers all across the rural countryside of Victoria. At the moment, Graham is probably going about half-track distance. The tractor is struggling just a little bit. As you can see, those back tyres really starting to dig in now, but still it's a pretty consistent run from Graham Wilkie in this Australian-built Chamberlain. A little bit of a twitch on those rear tyres now, but it's still pulling quite well. And the tractor is reasonably strong as it's heading up towards, and this could be a pretty good pull from Graham Wilkie in this Australian-built Chamberlain. Another interesting tractor on screen at the moment, and that's Tim McClure in the Chamberlain Canelander. This particular tractor was developed for the sugarcane industry in North Queensland. It's quite unusual to find a tractor like this so far south, but at the moment it's starting to struggle, and it's only a matter of time before Tim McClure succumbs. Alan Lendon Jr. on the W9 International, good worker, very good strong tractor. this International of Alan Landon and has some pretty good success at the particular track that falls in rural Victoria. And at the moment it's travelling nice and steady. Is Alan on this W9 International and looking very, very strong. A little bit of wheel spin now. Don't forget this sled has really been loaded up for this second pull for these tractors, so they're really starting to work for their money now. Probably travelled about 3/4 track distance as Alan Landon in the W9 International, and looks like it's starting to wheel spin now. Chopping up the track is this W9 of Landon's, but it's going to go on for a pretty good pull from Alan Landon Jr. Another competitor in the under 50 horsepower class, and this is David Brown in the Chamberlain KA55. It's got the horizontal opposed twin-cylinder engine in this particular Chamberlain. Australian built Chamberlain, very strong tractor, and looks like a David Brown is going on for a pretty good pull in this particular Chamberlain. Looks like Dave might be going on for a full pull and looking very, very strong. It's not really getting troubled at all by the extra weight in the sled, and this Chamberlain is going to go on and make a very, very good pull here at Muckleford. Diane Adams in the 9G Chamberlain is our only lady competitor this weekend here at Muckleford, and doing a reasonably good job in that Australian-built Chamberlain. We'll see how Diane can go, whether she go. Oh, now she's spinning now, and that's it for Diane. John Hayes is another competitor in the under 50 horsepower class in his Chamberlain 306, powered by the 6-cylinder Perkins, and really been loaded up as that sled. So this Perkins powered Chamberlain is really be starting to struggle now under the weight of the sled. Little bit of wheel spin on those rear tyres, but still John Hayes making progress. So to his credit, he's still, but now it's starting to struggle. It's a little bit more wheel spin on those rear tyres of this Australian-built Chamberlain, but now it could be just about all over for John Hayes in the Chamberlain. Here we have Tim McClure in a Chamberlain Super 90. These tractors were released by the Chamberlain Company way back in 1963. A heavy tractor. When water ballast is added, the tractor weighs in at approximately 7 tonnes. The Super 90 is powered by the legendary 371 GM motor, which originally pumped out 90 horsepower. It is a 2-stroke engine with 3 cylinders and is supercharged. Full capabilities of this tractor is at the drawbar is approximately 3,800 kilos. To our American friends watching this program, is about 8,500 pounds. This is a strong pull from Tim McClure, and looks like Tim's going on to record a full pull in this Chamberlain Super 90. So a good pull from Timmy McClure in the Chamberlain Super 90. You don't see too many of these particular tractors on the vintage tractor pulling scene here in Australia, but it's a Fiat and it's been driven by John Blake, and we'll see what John could do aboard the Fiat. Got good rubber on those rear tyres, so the Fiat should experience some fairly good grip. The Fiat's travelled about half track distance now and doesn't seem to be under too much difficulty, having a very, very steady run. There's John Blake aboard this Fiat as he's coming up to about 3/4 track distance now. This is a good strong pull from John Blake in the Fiat. It looks like John's going to go on and experience a pretty good pull. This could even be a full pull from John Blake in the Fiat tractor. Graham Wilkie aboard this Chamberlain Super 70 has started off with plenty of gusto. We'll see what Graham Wilkie can do, blowing plenty of smoke. Probably travelled about half track distance in the Chamberlain, so we'll see what Graham can do. This is a good steady run for the Super 70. Probably running up about 3/4 track distance now, and really you're not showing too many signs of struggle. You're just starting to bite in now. Now it's starting to struggle. Is the Super 70 of Graham Wilkie really starting to bite in now? Those back wheels are starting to spin a little bit. You can see the tractor starting to bounce around. So now Graham Wilkie's really got to start nursing this tractor, playing with it to try and get it to move, but it's heading up towards. There's going to be a pretty good pull from Graham Wilkie in the Chamberlain. There's Rod Skidmore, always plenty of action on the track when Rod Skidmore's there. Rod Skidmore's in the Fords in Super 6, and he's really giving it to it straight away, so he doesn't muck around. Plenty of horsepower in this tractor. Great big wheel. Oh, he's starting to struggle now as Rod, and that could be it. 50. Here's Len Gervin in the Chamberlain Super 70. Good, strong, powerful tractor is this, the Super 70 from Len. This Super 70 is one of the tractors from the Gervin family collection. Len Gerber has probably travelled about half track distance in this Chamberlain Super 70, just starting to struggle a little bit there. It's a little bit of wheel spin. You can see those rear tyres now really starting to bite into the track here at Muckleford, and still Len's persisting, but the tractor now is starting to succumb. It's still travelling, but only just. It's only a matter of time. That's it for Lenny Gerber. Another Australian-built Chamberlain on screen at the moment. This tractor is driven by Graham Bird. Very interesting tractor, dual wheels on the back, so obviously this tractor would have been used for some broad acre farming. There you see the myriad of air cleaners on that left-hand side of the tractor as well, so obviously used to work in a very dusty environment. A strong tractor, this Super 90 of Graham Bird. Probably travelled about the three-quarter track distance now, and it's just starting to struggle under the weight of that sled. The organisers have really put the weight in for these bigger horsepower tractors. Starting to get wheel spin now as Graham Bird in that Chamberlain Super 90, and that's it for Graham Bird. This is the man to beat in the open class tractor. This is the Super 90, the modified Super 90 of Robbie Green, and we'll see Robbie go as he really starting to up antes. He's probably travelled about half track distance now, and really in no difficulty at all as he's really putting the power into this Super 90. A very, very strong tractor, and this guy just about without peer in the open class tractor here at Muckleford, as Robbie Green will go right through for a full pull in the Chamberlain Super 90. Plenty of action when this man's on the track, and it's Scott Huff in the International Trawler. It's a V8 powered International Trawler, and it really starts to motor probably about half, three-quarter track distance, and this tractor does not look like it's going to slow up, and I reckon this is going to go through for a full pull from Scott Huff. This is the first outing for the Ford County 4x4, and that's driven by Rod Skidmore. So we see Rod in the Super 6 previous, and we'll see what Rod can do in this Ford County 4x4. Perfect tractor if you wanted to get into tractor pulling. It's a very, very strong tractor, the 4x4 combination. It's going to be very, very hard to beat. In the open class of tractor, of course, Rod's the only 4x4 competing here at Muckleford this weekend. So Rod's travelled about three-quarter track distance and looking very, very strong, and it doesn't look like this Ford County 4x4 is going to be slowed up at all, and it looks like it's going to go through and be a full pull from Rod Skidmore in the first outing of the Ford County 4x4. As the inaugural Muckleford Vintage Tractor doors will close, we hope you enjoyed the program. I'm Peter Shea. Until next time, it's goodbye from Muckleford.